tuned amplifiers. Okay. So before going to tuned amplifiers, first we should know what is an audio amplifier. So far we have seen audio amplifiers in your first unit and second unit, and in the LC oscillators we have seen the tuned circuit, correct? So we have L and C component at the collector part, which we call it as a tank circuit or a tuned circuit. So and additionally we will also have an audio amplifier that can be a CE amplifier. And why we want to go specifically to tuned amplifier? What is the necessity for going for a tuned amplifier? Okay. So first we must know what is an audio amplifier and what are all the drawbacks that is there, and only then we can opt why we have to go for tuned amplifier. So in audio amplifier, your amplification is done equally over wide range of frequencies. So say for example, if you are taking a sine signal and you are amplifying the signal over wide range of frequencies. Okay, so with respect to time you will write, but in frequency it is reciprocal. So amplification will be done over wide range of frequencies, and your gain, it will not vary according to the particular frequency of the signal. So the audio amplifier works well only for audio frequencies. Say for example, it is 20 Hz to 20 kilohertz. So up to maximum of few kilohertz, it can work well. Suppose if I want a high frequency application, how I can go? And the one more drawback in your audio amplifier is it will not permit the selection of particular desired frequencies, because the amplification is done over wide range of frequencies, and I cannot select a particular desired frequency based on the application. So in order to avoid all these drawbacks, I am going for a circuit, or I am going for an amplifier which is called as a tuned amplifier or tuned circuit. What do you mean by tuning? Tuning means selecting. What I am going to select? I am going to select a particular frequency, which we often call it as a resonant frequency. So in order to work my application for a particular frequency range or to select a particular frequency, I will be going for a tuned circuit or a tuned amplifier. Okay. So your tuned amplifier will work only for narrow band of frequencies. It will not work for wide range of frequencies as that of your audio amplifier. As the name indicates, tuned, it is going to select a particular desired frequency. And since it is going to work only for narrow band of frequencies, it is also called as narrow band amplifier. So in your questions, they will ask, instead of tuned amplifier, they will also ask what is meant by a narrow band amplifier. And this narrow band amplifier, as I said before, it is meant for high frequency application. That is, it can work up to few gigahertz. Okay. Few megahertz. Up to 5 megahertz it can work. So this is the advantage of your tuned amplifier. So what we are going to do in your tuned amplifier, and what are all the components we have in your tuned amplifier? We have basically L and C components in order to form your tuned circuit. And where we will place this tuned circuit generally? So in your transistor, often you will have your load part here, correct? And instead of your load RL, we are going to replace the combination of L and C at your collector part. So this is called as a tuned amplifier. If in your collector, if you are going to place an LC tank circuit, then it is called as a tuned amplifier. Then you can ask me, how ma'am, how a load can be replaced by a tuned circuit? Because your LC tuned circuit, it is going to work only for resonant frequency. Okay, say for example, it is FR. And for other frequencies, your capacitive effect as well as your inductive effect will cancel out each other. Okay, it will work only for FR. So your circuit will be purely resistive in nature. So your load can be replaced by the tuned circuit. In load, usually you will connect your RL, correct? Since the circuit is going to purely work at resonant frequency, which is resistive in nature, your load can be replaced by LC tank circuit, and that amplifier is called as a tuned amplifier. And this is the graph for a tuned amplifier. However, for an audio amplifier, you will have a wide bandwidth like this. For a tuned amplifier, you will have a narrow bandwidth like this. Okay, so this is called as your resonant curve, and it works only at FR, resonant frequencies. And here, greater than your resonant frequency, your tuned amplifier will be purely capacitive. And if your FR, it is less than your FR, then your tuned amplifier, it is going to be purely inductive in nature. So at resonance, it is going to be resistive. Greater than FR, it is going to be capacitive. And less than FR, it is purely inductive in nature. Okay. So this is the introduction about your tuned amplifier. So what is a tuned amplifier? Tuned amplifier is going to work for a particular desired frequency, which is called as a resonant frequency. It is also called as a narrow band amplifier because amplification is going to be done only for narrow band of frequencies, so that I can select a particular frequency of my interest. So this is the basic difference between your tuned amplifier and audio amplifier. And the next topic is classification of tuned amplifiers. So basically you have two types of tuned amplifiers. One is small signal tuned amplifier. Another one is large signal tuned amplifier. As the name indicates, small signal tuned amplifier, the power involved in small signal tuned amplifier is going to be small. And in large signal amplifier, the power that is going to be involved is going to be comparatively large. So that is called a small signal amplifier and large signal amplifier. Okay. So for small signal amplifier, you will use your class A amplifier. And for large signal, you will have your class AB, B, C. Generally, all these amplifiers are called as power amplifiers. You will study in your 5th unit. And for small signal tuned amplifier, your class A will work. And for large signal, you have your class A, B, B, and C. Simply, you have to know what are the classifications, and the detailed explanation will be given in your 5th unit. Okay. So your next topic is coil losses. Your unit actually starts here. Okay. So sorry for the disturbance. Okay. Can you hear my voice?
Aishwarya ma'am.
Ma'am?
Aishwarya ma'am, I can hear you, but somebody unmuted it seems. I think it's Sanjay or somebody else. I couldn't able to find out.
Okay, shall I proceed, ma'am?
If somebody is unmuted, let me check.
1 minute, ma'am. I shall see.
The voice is coming from your background only, I think.
Yes, ma'am. I had a disturbance actually. So now whether am I audible, ma'am?
You're audible. You're audible, ma'am. You can proceed.
Okay, okay. Due to election, people have contested, ma'am. Okay, fine. So, see, your next topic is coil losses. As I said before, your tuned circuit will have an inductor component, which is we call it as coil. But your inductor, it will not be purely inductive in nature. It will have some resistance that is represented by R. This resistance indicates the losses that occurred due to the coil. Okay, so purely your tank circuit or tuned circuit will not be inductive. It will have some losses, and that losses is represented by the resistor R. Okay, and based on this, we have 3 types of losses. One is copper loss, second one is eddy current loss, and third one is hysteresis loss. Okay, This copper loss is mainly due to the DC resistance of the coil. Copper loss is mainly due to the DC resistance of the coil, and this loss is inversely proportional to your frequency. And your second loss is eddy current loss. This occurs due to the current that is flowing through your coil. And this loss is proportional to your frequency. See, your tuned circuit will have a coil, and that coil will not be purely inductive. It will have some losses, and that losses is represented by the leakage resistance R. So based on this, I have three types. So first one is copper loss that occurs due to the DC resistance of the coil. And second one is eddy current loss. So as the name indicates, this loss occurs due to the current flowing within the copper or core. Okay. And this eddy current loss is proportional to your frequency, directly proportional to your frequency. And the third loss is hysteresis loss. This loss is proportional to the area enclosed by your hysteresis loop. Can anyone say what is hysteresis loop? Have you heard the term hysteresis loop? So hysteresis loop is nothing but the loop that is formed due to magnetization and demagnetization of the coil. The loop will look like this actually. So it will be looking, it will look like this. Okay, this will be your hysteresis loop. And what is the area enclosed by hysteresis loop? Area enclosed by hysteresis loop indicates the energy loss that occurs per cycle in the loop. That is your area enclosed by hysteresis loop. Hysteresis loop is formed basically due to the magnetization and demagnetization of the coil. You know that your inductor will store and discharge your magnetic energy. So the loop that is formed based upon charging and discharging of your inductor is nothing but your hysteresis loop. And the loss that is encountered due to this is nothing but your hysteresis loss. And all these laws are associated with your inductor, and the inductor is not purely inductive in nature. Okay. So these are all small topics in your third unit. And the next topic is loaded quality factor and unloaded quality factor. So as I said before, if you have only your tank circuit at the collector part without having external load, then it is unloaded quality factor. I will say what is unloaded. I will say what is unloaded quality factor. First, you understand the term between loaded and unloaded. Unloaded means if you don't have any external load that is connected at your collector, then it is unloaded. If you have an external load connected along with your tank circuit, then it is loaded. And what is quality factor? So often we will say quality factor measures the efficiency of any particular application of any particular circuit that we are going to design. That is quality factor. Higher the quality factor, better the efficiency of our circuit. That is Q. And in general definition, quality factor, it is defined by Q, which is equal to 2 pi into maximum energy stored by maximum energy dissipated. This is the general definition for any quality factor. Okay. And if it is unloaded, this definition is applied. So maximum energy stored in your tank by maximum energy dissipated in your tank is unloaded quality factor. Suppose if you are going to connect your external load also, then your quality factor, it is called as loaded quality factor. It is defined by QL, which is equal to 2 pi into maximum energy stored by maximum energy dissipated plus the energy dissipated due to the presence of external load. This is the difference between unloaded quality factor and loaded quality factor. Any doubt in this? Any doubts till this? Any doubts till this? Should I repeat or shall I continue?
Continue.
Okay. So this is the difference between unloaded and loaded quality factor. All these are only definitions. You are not going to apply anything. You have only problems related to these definitions. Actually, your unit starts with your next topic, parallel resonant and series resonant. All these are small topics. That's it. Okay. Next, we will say what is the relation between quality factor and bandwidth. So, in tuned circuits, your quality factor indicates the sharpness of the resonant curve. In tuned circuit, your quality factor indicates the sharpness of your resonant curve. So in tuned circuit, how my graph, it should look like, it should be like this. It should have narrow bandwidth, correct? So can anyone say how your quality factor and bandwidth can be related? Sharper the curve I get, better the quality factor. But I should have narrow bandwidth. Only then my quality factor will increase. So what will be the relation between quality factor and bandwidth? What will be the relation between your quality factor and bandwidth? Definitely both will be inversely proportional to each other. Okay, because I should have a sharper resonant curve, and for tuned circuit I have only narrow band of frequencies, and of course if that is the case I will have narrow bandwidth. So your quality factor and your bandwidth are inversely proportional to each other. So your quality factor is equal to FR by bandwidth. So make a note of this formula. This you will use in all problems. Okay. So this is the relation between your quality factor and bandwidth, and the graph here shows like this. See, this is the actual required one, or I can say this is the ideal case, and this will be your practical case. So in your practical case, what happens? Your band of frequencies gets expanded. So the quality factor in turn gets reduced. So if you have a wider bandwidth, you will have a lesser value of Q. If you have a narrow bandwidth, you will have a higher value of Q. So this is the relation between your quality factor and bandwidth. Okay. Now we will go for the first topic. So based on quality factor, we are going to derive two things. One is we are going to find what is the quality factor for a parallel resonance circuit. Then we are going to see what is the quality factor for a series resonance circuit. Till this, if you have doubts, you can ask me. Otherwise, I will start with the first topic. Okay. So what is parallel resonance circuit? All the components L, C, R, everything will be in parallel to each other. See here, your tank circuit, what it will have? You will have L, you will have C. This is your general tank circuit. What is parallel resonance circuit? I already told you, you will have a leakage resistance R whenever you have your L. If this L and R are in parallel, it is called as parallel resonance circuit. That is represented here. If your L and R are in series, then it is series resonance circuit. Okay. So we shall see how the quality factor is going to influence your parallel resonance circuit. So first we are going to find what is the admittance for this parallel resonance circuit. So what is admittance? Can anyone say with respect to R, what is admittance? So I will represent the total admittance of the total admittance of the circuit. It is given by Yt equal to, for R, what is admittance? What is admittance for R? So how can you relate your admittance and impedance? Admittance and impedance. Admittance is often referred by Y. Impedance is represented by Z, and your admittance is reciprocal of your impedance, correct? So, can anyone say how you will write for R? It is nothing but 1 by Rp, correct? And for C, if it is impedance, now how we will write? You have studied in your second unit also. You will write Z equal to 1 by J omega C for capacitor, and for inductor you will write it as J omega L. So you have to write in a reciprocal form for admittance. It is nothing but 1 by J omega C plus 1 by J omega L. Okay. So 1 by Rp. So take imaginary part from this side. So it is going to be, when I take J common, it will be omega C and multiply and divide by J here. So it will become J square, correct? Because J is there in the denominator. So it will be minus 1 by omega L. Okay. And at resonance, what will happen? Can anyone say? At resonance, what will happen? At resonance, what will happen?
Equal to omega.
Yes, at resonance, your imaginary part will become 0 because your circuit is going to act as a resistive circuit. So at resonance, your imaginary part is equal to 0. Therefore, I can say omega C equal to omega 1 by omega L. From this, if I take, what is my frequency? What is my frequency from this? Solve and tell me. Just cross multiply. It will be omega square LC equal to 1. So represent your omega in terms of frequency. It is nothing but 2 pi f whole square LC equal to 1. From that, F is equal to, all this already you have derived.
1 by root of 1 by 4 pi square LC.
1 by 2 pi square root of LC. Or this formula you have derived in the second unit. F equal to 1 by 2 pi root LC. So this is the frequency for the resonance circuit. Okay. Now we will find out the quality factor for this. Okay. So shall I move on to the next slide? Okay. Now I will define my quality factor. What is the general definition? 2 pi into maximum energy stored per cycle by maximum energy dissipated per cycle. Correct? So this is the quality factor that we have defined before. Now I will find what is the maximum energy stored, maximum energy dissipated per cycle. Then I will substitute and we will find what is the quality factor. Okay. So I am going to take the capacitor for identifying the maximum energy stored and maximum energy dissipated. Even you can take inductor also. In series resonance circuit, I will solve for inductor. Now I will solve for capacitor. Okay. So what is the maximum energy stored in a capacitor? You know the formula, correct? Please tell me, what is the maximum energy stored in a capacitor?
Half CV square.
Half CV square, and its maximum. So I'm just, instead of V, I am just going to represent it as V max square. So this is the maximum energy stored in the capacitor. Now I want to find out what is the maximum energy dissipated per cycle. So first, instead of finding the energy directly, so take this equation as 2. Now, instead of finding the energy directly, first I know the formula for power, then I will substitute for energy. Okay. So first we will find what is the average power that is dissipated per cycle. So what is average power dissipated? So you know that P equal to formula, it is V square by R. So what is average power? Average power, now what you will substitute? Instead of V, what you will substitute? You know the formula, P equal to V square by R. Okay. So I want to know what is the average power. Average power, now what you will do? Generally, we'll write it as VRMS, correct? VRMS square by R. And if I want to represent in terms of VM or V maximum, how I can write? How I can relate your VRMS with V maximum? It is nothing but Vm by root 2. That will be your VRMS. And instead of R, in our circuit, I have RP. VRMS is equal to V max by root 2. I hope you have studied all these things. Or V max badla, you can also write Vm by root 2. That's your wish. So this is the formula for VRMS. So from this, I can write my average power, which is equal to V max square by 2 RP. So this is your third equation. Now, can anyone say what is the relation between energy and power? What is energy with respect to power?
Aishwarya ma'am, 1 minute ma'am. Srivatsan, ma'am, you join the now only ma'am. 11:40. No need to join. Just to go away from the class. Srivatsan. Srivatsan, you can't answer for my question. This is the time to join the class by 11:40. Srivatsan, unmute yourself and answer for my question. You have to contact your year coordinator and your counselor. That's all. How many times I'm calling you? You can't able to open your mouth and answer for the question. Is this a time to join the class? Ma'am, Aishwarya ma'am, kindly continue, ma'am. Sorry for the interruption, ma'am. He's just joining right now, ma'am. Remove him from the class, ma'am.
So can I know? Yes, ma'am.
Register number, nothing.
Srinath, he has register number. Fine.
Class, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Just no, ma'am. I removed him.
Thank you, ma'am.
Now you tell me. Please tell me fastly. I have to complete the topic. So what is E in terms of power? E equal to power into time, correct? Why you people are not answering? I don't know. So energy equal to power into time. I want the energy dissipated only. So I found the power. So E equal to, so V max square by 2 RP into time T. So represent your time in terms of frequency. So it is going to be V max whole square by 2 RP into 1 by F. So take this equation as fifth equation. So now you found maximum energy stored and maximum energy dissipated. So now substitute your 2 and 5 in 1. Substitute 2, 5 in 1 and find out what is Q. Represent your frequency in terms of omega and find out the answer. Substitute 2 and 5 in 1. Find out the answer for Q. So what happens to your Q? So Q equal to 2 pi into what is the maximum energy stored? So it is going to be V max square by 2 Rp. And here you will have V max square by 2 RPF. So from this, you tell me. Sorry, here I made a mistake. So it is half CVM square, correct? Mm. 2 pi into half CV max square. So here you will have V max square by 2 RPF. So from this, you tell me what answer you got.
2 pi f rp into c.
That's what 2 pi f you represent by omega. 2 pi f.
CR.
So your answer will be omega naught or omega CRP. So this is your quality factor for your parallel resonance circuit with respect to your C. Suppose if you are going to derive with respect to your inductance, then it will be RP by omega naught L. So make a note of this formula, very, very important formula for your problems as well as for the other topics in the next third unit. Please proceed. So this is the quality factor. So we know that YT equal to 1 by RP and the other terms will be 0 because at resonance your inductive effect and capacitive effect will be cancelled to each other. So YT equal to 1 by RP, or I can say your Z naught is equal to RP. Correct? So I can also write from this equation, name it as 6. So from 6, I can write your Z naught, which is equal to RP, which is equal to Q omega naught L, which is equal to Q by omega naught C. Okay. So this is the equation for your parallel resonance circuit. Any doubts in this? The same way you can derive for inductor. Okay. Now we shall go for the series resonance circuit. Now we will take inductor into account and we will derive. So quality factor, what is the formula? 2 pi into maximum energy stored per cycle by maximum energy dissipated per cycle. Okay, all the formula you know. Now again we will find what is maximum energy stored, maximum energy dissipated, then we will substitute. Now we can take inductor into account. And why we call it as a series resonance circuit? Because your L and R are connected in series. If they are connected in parallel, then it is going to be parallel resonance circuit. Okay. So maximum energy stored in an inductor. Can anyone say? Maximum energy stored in an inductor. What is the formula? First, maximum energy stored in an inductor. Formula. Half L, then half L
I square.
I square or Im square or I max square. Anyway, so take this equation as 2. Now we have to find what is maximum energy dissipated. So to find maximum energy dissipated, what we will do? First we will find what is the average power dissipated. Then we will relate your energy and power, correct? So first we will find what is the average power dissipated. So what is the average power dissipated? Now with respect to I should say. So what is the formula? P equal to I square R, where I is nothing but your IRMS. So it is going to be IRMS square R. In terms of IM or Imax, how should I represent? It is IM by root 2 whole square into R. Okay. So therefore, your average power dissipated P equal to IM square R by 2. From this you find power, from this you find energy. So take this equation as 3. Find out the energy and substitute in Q, find out the answer. And instead of R, you have RS here, correct? So RS you should substitute. Okay. Now, what is E? E equal to P into T. So we found IM square RS by 2, and instead of T, I can write it as F. So this is your energy dissipated per cycle. Now you substitute in the quality factor. So Q equal to 2 pi into maximum energy stored half L IM square by energy dissipated. So it is IM square RS by 2F. So what answer you are getting? In terms of omega, you should say again. What answer you are getting?
Omega L by R.
So it is going to be omega naught L by RS. You should substitute RS small not R, because in parallel resonant you have RP. In series resonant you have RS. Both are not same. So be careful when you are substituting or when you are writing with your notation. Okay. So therefore your Q equal to omega naught L by RS. In terms of C, how you will write? In terms of C, can anyone say in terms of C how you will write? So shall we see? So here you see that here I have derived with respect to omega naught C, and when I want to represent, I have represented in an opposite way. Omega naught L has been in the denominator. Similarly here, what will happen? It is nothing but 1 by RS omega naught C. Okay. So this is the quality factor for series resonance circuits. Okay. Any doubts till this? Any doubts till this? Okay. So next we will go for classification of tuned amplifiers. Just I will give an intro, then I will wind up the class. So you have basically 4 types of tuned amplifier. First one is single tuned amplifier. Second one is double tuned amplifier. Third one is staggered tuned. And fourth one is synchronously tuned amplifier. Okay. So what is single tuned amplifier? Tuned circuit will be placed either at the input or it will be placed either at the output of the circuit. That is your single tuned amplifier. Okay. So your tuned circuit will be placed either at the input or it will be placed at the output. You will have only one single tank circuit, that is single tuned amplifier. Suppose in case of double tuned amplifier, you will have the tank circuit and tuned circuit both at the input and output. That is double tuned. Two tuned circuits you will have. Staggered tuned means, staggered tuned and synchronously tuned means you will have tuned amplifiers connected in cascade form. You will have more number of tuned amplifiers connected in cascade form. That is not only for a single frequency it will operate for many frequencies. That is the intention of cascading the tuned amplifiers. Then what is the difference between staggered tuned and synchronously tuned? Staggered tuned means all the tuned amplifiers, they will be tuned at different FR. Different resonant frequencies you will have. Each tuned amplifier will have one resonant frequency. Synchronously tuned means all the tuned amplifier will be tuned to same resonant frequency. That is synchronously tuned amplifiers. Okay. So in your syllabus, you have single tuned, double tuned and staggered tuned. And we will take single and staggered. You have to read for double tuned amplifier. Okay, va? So with this, I'll stop. So in next class, we'll start with capacitor coupled single tuned amplifier, a very, very important topic and a lengthy topic in your second unit, third unit. Only this topic, it will be lengthy. All other are very, very small. So your third unit is very easy. So please do concentrate. Okay. So with this, I'll stop today. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. So based on the first topic, parallel resonance circuit and series resonance circuit, I will post 2 problems in the Google Classroom. You have to solve the answers and submit. I repeat, based on parallel resonance circuit and series resonance circuit, I will post 2 problems in Google Classroom. So within this week, that is within Saturday, all must submit that assignment. Okay, it will take only 15 minutes of time to solve so that you can be familiar with the topic. Okay, so thank you so much. If you have any doubts, you can ask me.
Yesterday, ma'am, regarding circuits and simulation lab, right? I would like to share instruction. Here, students, don't leave. Just wait for another 2 minutes. See, already PSpice was with you. Okay, I'll share the manual of your circuits and simulation lab by today, right? So do practice the experiments using PSpice.